I wanted to just share a little bit today about my journey over the last year as it pertains to you guys, because we're all in this together. So I want to just start by taking a look around and just looking at the people around you. All these beautiful beings here, all these beautiful souls that are here, all of the work that has been put into this, all the work that's been put into this stage, all the work of bringing the porta potties out and preparing the food and getting all of the organization together and designing the web design, and there's been so much that's been culminated into this moment. So I want you to realize you're all part of that. You're part of this group here. And it's my belief and my strong knowing that we are part of a growing tribe around the world of people that are really listening to their heart and acting out of a different way now. We're no longer listening to the fear. So just recognize the beauty that's been put into this and recognize that this is a different type of festival. This is a different type of gathering, and that you guys are all making this possible. And it's by the way you see it and it's by the way you create it that you get to experience it. So now is the time, and you are the ones. We're all here to live and play and laugh and have a really great time this week. But I want to also remind us that we're here for something so much bigger. And it's not just about a festival anymore. It's not just about dancing and playing anymore. We're here to have a great time and celebrate together, but I also want to remind us that we're here to do powerful, big things in the planet right now. And that we're all part of that, and I know that we're feeling the call in our hearts so much. And I myself felt that call. And I want you to know that you have a powerful mission, and you have a vision, and you have a passion, whether you're aware of it or whether you're not aware of it. And it's really important to get in touch with that vision and that passion, because so many times we push that down and we try to live in the safe. And we're all very much, so many of us, bound to the cities, and really connected to that city life. And we are feeling this deep call to go back to nature and to be reconnected. So we are part of this growing tribe, and I really believe this is one of the most exciting times on planet Earth. Imagine if Martin Luther King or Joan of Arc or Mahatma Gandhi had Twitter, or if they had Facebook, or they created an online movement. Imagine what would have been possible then. And it's my belief system that you are the next Martin Luther King. You're the next Tony Robbins. You're the next Oprah Winfrey. You're the next whatever it is you want to be. You have within you so much power. And it's only our consciousness of that we do or that we don't that keeps us from actually moving forward and expressing that. So I think we would miss everything at Envision if we weren't really envisioning our lives and what we're going to bring out of it. So I wanted to just help set a little bit of an intention for whoever's here to really kind of tap in, like, what is your vision? What is your passion? What are you here to do? I think that's vital. It's so vital in this time, because we want to walk away from this not just saying, man, that was great, but it's like we are the seeds that are going to impact this earth now. And the stakes have never been higher. There's never been more incredible things going on, and at the same time, terrible things going on. And so we as the seeds here at Envision can take this into our lives and into the world. We can really truly make impact, because that's what the real big picture, the big thing going on here is beyond the music and the awesome food and the hugs, is that there's something growing inside of us, and it's time that we unleash it. And you guys are freaking powerful. You guys are powerful beyond measure. So a little context. My name's Dr. Kuykendall, and I used to have a practice in Austin, Texas. I saw over 40,000 patient visits in my decade of practicing. I saw chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, MS, Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's disease, and all types of autism spectrum type things, and many, many others. And what I'm seeing is the downstream effect of those many years culminating on people. Autoimmune disease at its very core is rejection of self. And it's a huge explosion going on right now. We have a cancer that's growing on our planet, in the minds and in the hearts and in the bodies of us. And I really believe that after seeing 40,000 visits, that this stuff of us sitting behind a computer, not living out our joy, not living out our passion, grows into chronic disease over time. That's actually how I got into this field. I got very, very sick. And I realized I was standing at the bottom of the river. I'm seeing all of the downstream effects of xenohormones and estrogen, electromagnetic fields, and all of these people that are like wanting to do something big, because all of us here want to do something big, right? So if we're going into our lives and we're wanting something big, but we're doing this small dance, you know, to kind of play it safe and save up in our IRAs and all of this stuff, we're never actually going to bring here what we're here to bring. I had everything society told me. I had the car, I had the girlfriend, I had the house, and that was so fulfilling. It was my passion. I was like the super geek of this stuff. I loved it. Functional medicine, functional neurology, quantum neurology. Quantum neurology is really cool. You get to play with lasers and it accelerates. You know, you've heard about the quantum field, everybody here. You can actually accelerate the effect on the human body neurologically and physiologically using different types of modalities and laser therapy. Really fascinating. Worked with consciousness work, emotional work, but I'm realizing it's just like they're pouring oil or gasoline into the river, and it's like, man, we got to come up where they're pouring it and say, we got to stop this. And that's you guys that are here, that are inspired, that are impassioned to do something and go out and make a change in the world and take this back to your families. It's the biggest thing I think that we have right now. I'm not less for leaving all of that. I'm more. And I was really terrified. I was like, oh, all this shit that I worked for to save up and have all these things. I didn't sell the practice. I walked away. Patients were freaking out, like, what are you going to do? And I say this for you guys because you have your own things in your life where you've tried to establish your savings, your bastions of wealth, or just trying to play it safe and do what it is that you think that you should do that's going to make yourself, your identity happy, your family, society happy. But if you're willing to set that down, what I found out in my own experience this last year and a half after I left the practice is that this magic opens up and you're kind of like on the surfboard and you're surfing the wave of energy, and there's all these things you're like, how did this even happen? I never planned any of this. All the right people, all the right timing, the doors open up. That's how I actually am standing on the stage here with you, because I knew inside if I didn't leave, it's not about leaving society, but it was about leaving nothing that wasn't serving me anymore, leaving the things that were like, this was awesome, this was fun, and what if I did this in a jungle? What if I did this in nature? So in your own lives, you have so much that you can offer the world. You just have to think outside of the box, and you're just the right people to think just a little bit differently, like, how can we create something new? How can we bring in a new way? I had this patient before I left a year and a half ago named John. I used to treat his daughter, and when she came in, she was nonverbal, she wasn't walking, she was autistic, and we actually got her walking and talking, and she's doing much better now. That's not the point of the topic, though. When I saw John last, he was dying on his deathbed. He made a phone call to his wife and said, I want Dr. K to come and visit. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. I'm not comfortable, like, sitting with people and sitting with their last moments. And it was like the opening. It's like that uncomfortable thing is the opening, like, oh. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I went and sat with this man, and I could see his jugular vein pulsing out of his neck. I could see his heart pounding through these weak intercostal muscles of his chest. And I was like, this man was a 250-pound Italian man, very strong, very healthy. And here he is completely broken down in his last minutes, and he's really afraid. And I really kind of sat with him, and we did some work, and it was really powerful. He was able to really smile and just let go. But the point of this is that this is a man that had a big vision. He wanted to do a lot with young people. He had a lot of regret around, I wanted to laugh more, I wanted to play more, I wanted to live more consciously, more aware in my life. And he had a lot of regret. And I realized, he said, Kieran, don't wait to live your life and look back and regret. Don't look back and say, man, I wish I would have. Because that's what you hear with people on their deathbeds in their last moments a lot of times, is the regret and the things that they wish that they had actually gone for and done. So my question to you is, will you answer that call that you have in your heart? Are you going to sit and wait, or are you going to answer the call? Does anybody in here, medically speaking, know what the number one cause of death is? I often ask that. People say heart disease or cancer or diabetes. The number one cause of disease of death is birth, right? None of us are getting out of here alive, which is pretty amazing. And matter of fact, statistically speaking, 150,000 people just died today on this planet. Really fantastic to think about. Like 7.6 billion on the planet and growing, 150,000 just died. Actually, 350,000 statistically were just born today. So there's like double the possibility of what's coming in new, and we are the newness. You guys are the newness that we need. You know, our consciousness needs to increase as our knowledge does. I remember listening years ago and saying, you know, they said that our knowledge was doubling every 10 years. Then I heard a statistic that it's doubling every 5 years. And now, statistically speaking, some are saying that it's doubling every single 12 months, our knowledge. I mean, we just launched a car out into space. That's an amazing thing with Elon Musk. You know, we're doing so many amazing things on this planet. But with this increase and this doubling of our knowledge, our consciousness has to increase. Our awareness of ourselves has to increase if we're going to survive ourselves. Otherwise, it ends up like those patients on my table in the office. And it was literally breaking my heart. Everything I had done, everything I had learned, I wasn't able to save these people. It was heartbreaking for me. And that's why I took off. And I hope that in some way it inspires you to really look at this. I mean, at one point we were fetching water and we were making fire and we were trying to hunt food. And that consciousness got us to where we are here. So we never want to curse it. It was exactly what we needed at the time. And if you know, long ago in the caveman days, your mom and father would say, if you see anybody, club them over the head and drag them into the cave. And that was actually good advice, because at that time that would keep you alive. But our consciousness and our awareness is we don't club people over the head anymore. It doesn't work out so good. So we need to be aware that even now, as more and more is coming out and more technology and more awareness, we are a new species. We're growing, we're more aware, we're more sentient, we're more conscious, we're more empathic. We feel more because we're not worrying about the basics of like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to do this thing? And so many cultures and communities around the world don't have what the Western worlds have as far as technology, ease of everything. So much ease that we're bored out of our minds. You know, a lot of us are like, well, you know, watch Netflix tonight, maybe get a burrito, and we have so much that we're bored. And it's like, man, if we can just access that part of ourselves of what we're really here to do and bring in, then we're going to really make amazing changes on the planet. And you have an inner compass. What's great is all the equipment you need, you already have. There's an inner compass. And that inner compass is moving in the direction of what really feels amazing, what's exciting, what's impassioning, you know, what's empowering to you. And as long as you keep moving towards that compass, you're going to have those days where the dial goes crazy and those things like magnets around you, you know, an interaction, your boss or whatever, throws you way off. But you just retune that compass to north, and it's like, okay, which way am I going? It's powerful to do this. I always love to think of this as Earth School. Religion aside, dogma aside, we're all here, 7.6 billion people and growing, and that we're learning lessons. And where we take them after we go, who knows? We all have our own beliefs. We actually really don't know anything. We're all just kind of making the shit up as we go along. We really don't know. But we do know that we're here to learn lessons in either fear and love or doubt and lack. And so you have to go through the fear courses sometimes. You know, when I was doing all the college hours, I had to go through all the basic mathematics, and then you had to go through, you know, algebra and chemistry and physics, and then you get into organic chemistries and physical chemistry. Then you really start pulling your hair out. But after you get out of that, you can get into more of the love lessons, which is like, wow, with this knowledge or these things that I've learned, what now can I apply into my life? So it's a school, and there's souls coming in every day. You know, when my mom died of cancer a couple years ago, long story, beautiful, beautiful ending to that story. But when she passed away, I realized this really is like an airport. People are coming and they're going every day. And it's us that we need to recognize what we can bring here for the world that's going to really change so much. So let me ask you a question. When I ask this, I don't want you to think, oh, yeah, that's a great question. Cool, man. I want you to actually ask yourself, what is it that your heart really wants to do? So just take a second and ask yourself, if money didn't matter, you could do anything you wanted, you could create anything, because you can, and you woke up tomorrow in a dream, what would that be? And I want you to really listen to that for a second. And now I want you to really hear what are the reasons why you can't. And just listen to yourself for a moment. I can't because the money. I can't because, who am I, man? I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm not like one of these guys. I'm not Joan of Arc. Who am I? I'm just this person from Alabama, wherever you're from. These are our reasons that are blocking us. So we said, what would your heart really have you do? What would you really want to do if you could bring anything in on planet Earth? We said, what are the things and the can'ts? Do you guys have some? Yeah? Good. So what does your heart say about that? I want you to ask your heart for a moment about the fear or about the money. Oh, I could never do this because of this. I couldn't do this because my family would be judgmental of me. The reasons that we can't is the resistance that we're holding on to this old story. We're not letting go of it, and the longer we hold on to that story, it will literally tear us apart. It's a consciousness of wanting, I want to serve, I want to help, I want to do permaculture, I want to open up festivals, I want to inspire other young people, but there's this consciousness of, man, I can't do this because, and then we get torn apart, and it's literally tearing the consciousness of people apart. And there's a big consciousness right now on Earth in a lot of ways where I think a lot of people are like, man, I don't know if we're actually going to do this thing. I don't think we're going to necessarily pull it off. We're really scared that, like, how is humanity actually going to go? And the important thing is that you guys have all that power within you doing your own work, that within you shifting, we are the seeds that go out. They talk about carrying seeds. Well, you guys are the seeds. And when you go through the TSA and do that, you don't even have to worry about, I hope they don't find my seeds, You're the seed. You've got everything you need. And that's exciting. Our consciousness is what stops us. And if there's something in your life you wanted to do, and it was like, man, I really want to work with young people. I want to inspire children. Well, you're going to come up to a doorway in your consciousness. Somewhere deep in the bowels of consciousness, whatever actually creates thought and awareness, there's these doorways, these paths, I feel like. And you're like, oh, there's fear, like, man, and it may be a really huge doorway, maybe like made of steel. But the key is always the same. It's always more love, not less. And that doorway is your doubt, your fear, your worry, your judgment. And the way you unlock the door is with love. You love that space that's standing in front of you. Then you can step through the doorway, baby steps through the doorway, baby steps onto the elevator. I don't know if you ever saw that What About Bob movie. But there's the baby steps, and you just start moving, and then you realize, wow, there's no fear. Okay. Then there's like, okay, what about the doubt of this? And it's like you move through the doubt, and you're like, wow, there's no doubt. There's no doubt, there's no fear. What next? And you actually can unlock these doorways. It's very easy to do this. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need another retreat. You don't need any of those things. There's some awareness that needs to come with this, but this is actually what I've been doing over the last year. I'm not a professional speaker. I'm a doctor. I'm a student of life. I'm a guy that got to the point I was like, man, this is no longer fulfilling me. And so I'm fearless in standing in front of you because I've seen it in my patients' eyes, the amount of struggle and the amount of pain. And they would come in and they'd say, run my blood work, doc, and do all these tests. And we were doing these highly advanced, expensive tests. And we couldn't get to the core of it because deep inside is this deep inner anguish and deep inner pain. So we must be doing the inner work to be actually changing the planet. We can't just show up and look cool and all of those things. It's fun and dance and play, but we can actually take this home with us and be easy on yourself. The times where you need to do the most work, I feel like this is obviously a very conscious group of people here. The times that you're like, man, I really need to sit and meditate. You're like, well, gotta go, the show's on, We be easy on yourself because there's that part of your consciousness that says, I'm really afraid to sit with this, man. I don't want to sit and feel this fear, this pain, this doubt. I feel small or I feel silly. That's the time to do it the most because those doorways will open up and you'll be able to move through the next one powerfully. So I want to give you just a tangible way to do this, just a basic kind of rundown. So if you're a pilot, they're taught to scan their instruments very, very frequently. So scanning our instruments with a car, like when a patient comes into me in the office, they would come in with all these issues, but they're like, nah, doc, I don't put any water in the, in the, what do you call that thing, the radiator. I don't put the right gasoline in the vehicle. And so the thing is totally breaking down all the time, They don't put the oil in. They're riding it really hard in their life. And this is kind of an analogy for your own life. We're riding our bodies so hard, and we're like, man, I don't know what happened, doc, and it's like, well, are you pooping? And they're like, no, I don't. I'm pretty constipated, and it's like literally having a banana in the tailpipe of the car, and it's like, your mechanic would be like, this guy's nuts, get him out of here. It's totally nuts, we're not gonna be able to fix this car. So, scanning the system before it gets to that broke down car state. So I want you just to feel into your body for a second. I want you just to feel, what are you feeling right now? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling doubtful? Are you feeling passionate? Is there anxiety or fear? Then I want you to get curious about that. What is that? What is that fear? What is that doubt? Whose is this? Is this even yours? Is this something that archetypally has been laid upon us? This is from our parents, our families, our society. And if you'll really start to feel into your body, this is really the takeaway, is feeling into this, feeling like, whose is this? What is this? Why is this here? Start to ask those questions. It'll give you a lot more awareness. And once you find out, oh, okay, this is some doubt or this is some fear, I want you to just really send a lot of love into that space. I like to call it love push-ups, because at first it's kind of like a workout. You're on the ground, you're like, oh God, I really don't want to do love push-ups right now. But loving ourselves, I think, is the most important thing. It's why I saw so many sick patients over the years, is that we weren't deeply enough loving ourselves, Oh man, I wish I had a car like that, or I wish I had a body like that, or I wish I had this all sorted out. I wish I had land like this, man. One day, and we beat ourselves consciously to death. We eat an ice cream cone, and then later we beat ourselves up about eating the ice cream cone. So I say, if you're going to eat ice cream cone, enjoy the damn thing, So I was indoctrinated into a belief system, just as all of us, just in society. We have these ways that we're brought up and the way that we're taught. And the reason is because our parents love us. The reason is because we want to grow and we want to build. And we should never curse those things. Those old ways of politics, the old ways of medicine, old ways of money, the old ways of so many. We don't want to, even religion, it brought us to where we are. It actually created the bedrock that we stand on. It gave us, that was the masculine energy. It really created what we needed. But now we don't need to say, oh, it's us and them, and the government is this and our leaders are that. All of that shit is a lie you're perpetrating on yourself, just like myself, that we're like, man, I'm actually able to really help and do what I can with the people around me. And if I get out of the way and I let go of the fear of how I look or come across, then ultimately, if you're one of those 150,000 people we talked about statistically that die, I realized in practice, I was like, how much value does my life really have if there's so many people dying and being born every single day? And if you guys heard that I died later after this or before you met me, you're like, man, that sucks, it's one of the other 150,000. Because it's too big to try to feel all that discomfort for people. But once I realized how small my life was and how insignificant I was, I got to be extremely significant. I got to be able to show up in my life powerfully with love. Because all that other stuff, the stuff that we tell ourselves that keeps us small, I was able to let go of. So I want you to know that it's okay to trust. It's okay to trust your heart. When I left, I was really terrified to let go of the money and the name and the identity, and I had many little fearful things. But because I was able to, okay, I'm afraid, what have I done? You get to the other side and you're laying on the beach in some beautiful place like Mazunte, Mexico, and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? What am I doing with my life? I shouldn't do this way. And it's like, well, whose is that? That's not even my belief system. Because damn it, this is really fun here on the beach, or this is really fun in the forest with these amazing people. So you just keep unlocking those doors and keep walking through. So when you have meltdowns, and let me assure you, we're always going to have them. I don't know what it is about the fact that the universe is such a beautiful thing that you can literally drink out of this water and you can literally drown in it. You know, if you buy a puppy, you're going to have this loving puppy, and then one day it will pass on and pain will come. It's woven into it. So if you're able to be aware of your consciousness of why you're having this pain and why you're holding on to your old story, you actually are the creator of your whole reality, because you can say, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Or you could say, this is an awful, installation. Why would they do this? I choose to choose that it's beautiful. It's a choice. And if you have that choice, what you have is freaking power, man. Total, absolute power. I mean, really wrap your head around that. That's what Envision for me is about. I'm saying leap in the direction of your highest excitement. I was scared to leap. But when you leap, that's when the wind will actually catch your wings. And I know you've heard it 1,000 times, but I actually got to experience it this year myself. I think that's what I wanted to experience myself by literally saying, okay, I'm willing to let go into the field and actually trust to see where this is going to take me. And you're leaping, that fearful thing you're jumping off of and into that abyss is literally your lesson, your mission, your power. This is what you are here to bring in. And I'm saying you can trust it. Our whole life we've been told, you're too sensitive, you're too anxious, or you're too depressed. Well, if you're depressed, maybe you're actually paying attention and everybody else is just eating McDonald's and kind of zoned out, right? And so if you're depressed, maybe you're actually really paying attention. So celebrate that. If you're anxious, maybe you're like, man, there's a sense of impending doom because I'm going to die at this computer. Maybe your spirit or your body, your soul is saying, man, you got to quit this job, Maybe if you're like freaking out of a relationship, maybe it's something that's speaking to you that says that I need to let this go and I'm holding on to this damn thing. And when you start to realize that, you can move through things so much quicker. The old story of that we have, like if you're from the United States, you've heard how do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S, Rolaids, right? We have these commercials playing all the time. Remember I was at the airport one time and I was like, oh man, I need to call Southwest Airlines with my flight, my booking. And I was like, man, I don't know their number. It was before smartphones. And I realized I fly SWA. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? I never looked that up. That was like a TV or a radio commercial that was played over and over. And it's all in there, man. And you can access it. And that was really, it really hit me. So what's for breakfast if you're in the United States? Eggs, bacon, right? Pancakes, waffles. Where do we get this idea? This is like our grandmother told our great-great-grandmother and on down the line until here we are today. And you're like, oh, this is what we have when we go to Denny's or whatever. None of our crowd here is eating at Denny's, I'm sure. So the old stories are what are really been the best blessing, because your mother saying, honey, you can't do this. I was hanging out with a really gorgeous couple in the audience last night, and she had a lot of fear of letting go of moving into what she wanted to move into in her life, which is art through videography and film, right? But her mom said, this is not a real job. And what it really was her mom's trying to protect her. She's trying to say, and she only has that operating system that she was born in with, and that she was raised in her culture and her community. And guys, with technology, man, with our knowledge increasing, our awareness increasing, that's why I think a lot of our community is feeling this huge rift. Like, man, I want to do this stuff, and I gotta go work at Starbucks, It's like there's this really big tear on our awareness and our consciousness. And that, first of all, it's okay that you feel like this. It's okay that you feel freaked out, And when you start to just be more loving on yourself, that you're actually the ones. It's not going to be our leadership, and it's not going to be the next people. You're it, man, and we need you now more than ever. And it's exciting because it doesn't have to be this big thing like, I'm going for what I want. It's so big. We were talking with that girl last night in the audience, and it was like, it seemed really big. I would create these ideas that were really big, and it was a way of keeping myself over here. So it was like, well, that stuff is way too big. I'm not going to try to get into that. I'm going to play it small, and kind of play it safe. I'll do a little bit, I'll do a little workshop or whatever it is. I'm saying that if you really trust and move in the direction of what you want and what you heal, what you're here to do, you can do big things. So let me ask you, what do you want to create? What do you really, really want in your life? What do you want to bring in? Similar to the question before, but I want you to really feel it. So maybe close your eyes and just feel, what is it you would love to create? You could do anything you wanted. And you may have it figured out already, or you may not. If you don't have it figured out, just asking the question is the first step. And there is no question that's asked without an answer that comes. It'll come. I really trust in this. Now that I've been doing this a while, I trust the answer is there for you. What is it you want to create? And I want us to really just close our eyes for a second. And I want you to feel love for yourself, recognizing that you are part of a growing tribe, that you guys have seen it, you're traveling, it's around the world. This is not the minority anymore. This is a big awareness, there's a big consciousness shift. When you're in the 70s wearing the polyester pants and smoking at work, and messing with a typewriter, you don't realize, man, we're in the 70s right now. But right now, we are in something. I don't know what it is. We can make up a story. I have no idea what this is, but there's something really big happening here. And that is the coolest thing. So feel the love for yourself that you're realizing, wow, I actually do have something that I can give into the world. Big or small. You can start really small. I want you to feel love for that. So embody that for a moment. And now I want you to feel the love of your community that's here, both at this stage, both back home, and in this whole community here. 6,000, 7,000 strong is what I hear this year. These people stand with you. They're here with you and for you. I want you to feel the love of them supporting you. Now I want you to feel love for them as well. That you're connected through this. You're connected through this consciousness, this awareness. Really feel this love, and I want you to let it really shine. Get out of the way of your fear right now of it. Just let all that go. Just feel it, let it emanate, and I want you to feel it emanating around this whole group here. And I want you to intensify it. I want you to feel the support of any universal forces that you believe in. Whatever hung the sky and the stars and the moon, whatever made the leptons and the protons and the quarks. Maybe it's just the isness, but there's an energy. There's something to this, guys. Religion and dogma aside, there's something that is here in support of us here, or it wouldn't happen. There's a powerful universal force at play. I want you to allow it to emanate just a minute longer, and I want you to feel how good that is to actually feel that emanating. And I want you to actually take a deep breath in, and I want you to send it out as a prayer, an incantation, a call, whatever it is that you're ready to answer your own calling. So let's do one more deep breath in, and just send it out collectively out into the sky. Into the unknownness, and recognizing that we are part of this. Well done, guys. So just open your eyes, and I want you just to look around for a second at all the beautiful people in here again. These people are your best friends. They're your community. They're whoever you create them to be. The more you show love, the more you hug, the more you just connect with people and see how beautiful they truly are, the more the infinite impossibility of things that you could never imagine when you step off that ledge through the doorway of fear or doubt or lack. Like, I had no idea this could happen. I had no idea that these friendships would come in. And I had no idea the money would come, that you could get sponsorship. I mean, we can do Patreons now and Steemits and YouTube channels, and beyond the digital, you can really create anything you want. And that's the beautiful thing. So just as you walk through this week, just practice the simple practice of seeing these people as amazing, as beautiful, they're really just so much like us. We're all just trying to figure this out. Like I said, I mean, I think really none of us really have a clue fully. We have all these ideas and stuff that were given to us, but it's not really, we don't really know. So if you realize, man, these people are all here in support of good vibes. They're here in support of good food and fun and freaking creating something new in our lives. We will be able to connect so much more. And when we get the connection there and there's no more stickiness between us, then things just open up. People take you in as their brothers and their sisters. It's beautiful. It's time to unite the tribes. And you are the tribe. You are this tribe here. And traveling, you'll see in other countries, other tribes. In other cities, there's other tribes. And it's a time of a great uniting, and it's good to pause, take a pulse test, and look around. What's happening here? It's like, man, there's really a big group of people coming together. And Envision is a great container for that because it's a very, very different setup than a lot of these other ones. It's more conscious. I couldn't imagine the amount of work that was put into this. To throw a festival of this nature, but let alone to do it in a developing nation is like, wow, this is a really big feat. And that you guys can really offer so much amazing secret sauce to this opportunity here. You have it. You have it. It's the love that you have. So the more love and the more understanding, this is how we're going to grow. And I know that you guys are powerful, that you're passionate, and you just have to keep asking the question, what is I want? What do I want to bring into the world? So if you will, whether aloud or internally, before we close this talk, let's just make a little affirmation to ourselves, a little saying to ourselves. I'm ready. You can say it internally so you don't feel silly, or you can say it out loud. I'm ready. All right, I like this. I'm ready. I'm ready to answer the call. Even if I don't know what it is yet. Even if I think I have it all figured out. Because it probably won't even look like that anyway. But I'm letting go. And I'm allowing myself to trust just a little more. And I choose to create with my tribe. And I choose to really connect with the right people this week. I want you to really feel that for one moment before we're done here, that it can actually be a decision in your own consciousness that you meet, attract, connect with, and impact exactly the right people. Or you could choose that we're not. Your destiny is waiting. You have everything that you need. The choice and the question is will you answer it? I love you guys. I'm so glad to be here with you. Yeah. If you would like to learn more, we're going to have a very sophisticated system where we have a notebook. Put an email down. I really don't have anything to sell you. Okay, that's not what this is about. But what I'm really, really passionate after all those years with patients is now taking people that are empowered, that want tribe, that want community, that want to be in nature, that want to learn clinical skills. I can teach you all types of doctor things. I can teach you like things to help people move through blogs. Like there's some really cool stuff. And when you start working where two or more is gathered, it's powerful. So that's what I'm passionate about. And to be honest, I don't even know what it looks like yet, but I know it's happening. And you're part of that. So love you guys.